What's going on, everyone, and welcome to this cutting meal prep. Beach season is right around the corner, and if you're looking to burn some fat, get cut, get shredded, look good, this meal plan will definitely help you out. And it is all broken out in a simple, easy to follow guide. There is a link in the description, but you're gonna be able to print out all the groceries, all the cooking instructions, all the meals, the macro breakdowns for each meal. So again, link in the description, so make sure to check that out, but it's gonna have everything you want broken out. Me personally, I like a hard copy when I follow these types of things, so when I go to the grocery store, I can cross off the groceries, I can make sure I got all the utensils, I can make sure my meals match up. It's just easy. So without any further ado though, let's just get into the meal prep.
Let's start off by checking out the groceries you're gonna need for this prep. And here they are. And then here in a few clips, you're gonna see all the cooking utensils that I used. And I also wanted to say quickly, guys, if you like this video, if you think it's helpful, please like it, hit the thumbs up, share it, leave a comment. I love responding to them. I do my best to respond to almost every comment I get. But anyways, now it's time to start prepping the veggies for the little stir fry teriyaki bowl that I'm doing. And for the veggies, I decided to go with red cabbage, kale, green cabbage, shredded carrots, red peppers, broccoli, and zucchini. Now there are additional vegetables that you could add. If you have certain preferences, by all means go for it. This is just what I wanted. There's just the vegetables that I thought sounded good, so that's why I went with them. But once the kale is rinsed and cut up, I'm gonna tear off 2 pieces of tinfoil, and I'm essentially gonna make a little pocket or packet, fold it up a little bit and put the kale in there. I am going to show a few different ways to prepare the veggies just to give you guys options based on what you have available to you. And again, just to give you some more variety. But for the next few minutes, I'm basically just cutting up vegetables. So I'm gonna let you watch, and I will be back with the voiceover when it's time to proceed to the next steps. When it comes to seasoning, a lot of times I keep it pretty basic. Just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper. And in this case, that's what I'm doing. Now, just because this is how I prefer my veggies doesn't mean you have to season yours the same way. There are many different seasonings out there that you could use, and if you prefer or you like something different, by all means, go ahead and use it. And by now, you probably noticed the few different ways that I have packaged or prepared the vegetables. So one way being those little foil packets, and then another way being the baking dish and cookie sheet. The reason for doing this is I just wanted to show you that if you didn't have certain things available, you could use all cookie sheets, you could use all foil packets, or you could use all baking dishes. And I'm covering with tinfoil so that when I bake them, it's almost like steam roasting them. And for the foil packets, I'm using 2 sheets of foil so I can give the veggies a little more room to cook and then put the other foil on top, which should help them to cook a little better. And then I'm gonna bake them at 400 degrees for 14 to 16 minutes. Now I'm gonna move on to prepping the asparagus. The asparagus is for the pasta meal and it's the same as the other veggies. So I'm just gonna rinse them off and I'm gonna cut them in half. You could leave them whole if you would like, but I find that cutting them in half will fit in the containers I use a little better. Plus, eating a whole piece of asparagus can be a little awkward at times, so cutting them in half just seems easier. And then again for the seasoning, same as the other vegetables, pretty simple: extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper. And I'm going to be baking these as well, but I'm not going to be putting the tinfoil over the top of them. I'm going to roast them for 12 to 15 minutes. Let's keep the party rolling. We're moving on to veggies for the egg muffins. There's going to be an egg muffin for breakfast. I chose some pretty basic, some pretty simple veggies and ingredients to use for mine. The possibilities are endless for these things. I mean, if you've ever had an egg muffin, you basically just have it. It's like an egg omelet, but it's in a muffin tin. So yeah, whatever you'd put in eggs, you could essentially put in these egg muffins. But just as the other vegetables, I'm gonna rinse them, slice them, dice them, and then set these aside. Just for the time being, I will be coming back to them. But I'm gonna move on to getting some of the seasonings or garnishes, whatever you wanna call them. It's gonna be some parsley and then some dill. I'm just going to chop these up and they're gonna be for the pasta. They're gonna go into the pasta, along with a few other ingredients, which you will see here in a few clips. But for the dill, it was only like my second time working with fresh dill, but you just wanna pull the smaller leaves off that larger stem. I do not recommend eating that stem. I don't think you're supposed to. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think you are. And then just as the parsley, slice up the dill into pretty small pieces. Set those aside for now, and let's move on to the chicken. I chose these chicken tenderloins over chicken breasts. I just find them easier to prep, but you do want to cut off that little white tendon. You won't be able to chew through that. I mean, it's really tough. But then I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil to my cooking skillet. I'm gonna let that heat up for just a couple of minutes. Then I'm gonna add my chicken, add a little bit of garlic, and then also add some salt and pepper. And again, if there are other seasonings and or spices you would like to use, by all means, go for it. But you wanna cook the chicken for roughly 5 to 7 minutes on each side, and then it will be done. The chicken is for the veggie stir fry meal, and the steak is also going to be used in that meal as well. And with the steak, I'm just cutting it in half and trimming off some of the fat. And then I'm going to go to my cooking skillet, same as the chicken, add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, add my steaks, and add a little bit of this McCormick steak seasoning. And then I'm going to cook it for 6 to 7 minutes on each side. Because it's thicker, I'm also going to be baking it. Depending on how you like your steak done, you could skip that step, but then you would probably need to cook it in the skillet a little bit longer. But anyways, I ended up baking mine at 400 degrees for about 5 to 8 minutes. Came out perfect. It was more on the medium side. Then I moved on to thawing out the salmon. I just followed the instructions on the packet, put it in some cool water for about 20 to 30 minutes, and that was it. And then on my baking sheet, I placed it skin down and I added some seasonings. So I added some spray butter, some minced garlic, half a lemon I squeezed over top of it. I drizzled some extra virgin olive oil on it, and then some salt and pepper. And the salmon is going to be for the pasta meal. Once I'm done with this, I'll be moving back on to the pasta. But look at this salmon. That looks so good. I'm going to be baking it at 400 degrees for 15 to 18 minutes. Okay, on to the pasta, and I'm weighing it raw. If you're wondering why I didn't weigh the other stuff raw, I will get to that later, but I'm weighing out about 220 to 225 grams of the pasta. Then you want to fill up a large cooking pot with water so that when you add the noodles, at least an inch of water is covering the noodles. Turn the burner to a high heat, wait for the water to start boiling, add your noodles, and for al dente style noodles, cook for about 6 to 7 minutes. Once they are done, you want to drain them, strain them, and then we're going to bring them back to the stove to the same pot and start adding some of those garnishes or seasonings that we cut up earlier, along with some additional ingredients. But to the pasta, I'm adding a few squirts of spray butter, a couple drizzles of the extra virgin olive oil, about half a lemon, then that parsley and dill we cut up earlier, that's going in here. Not necessarily all of it. It depends on your taste, like how you want it to taste. You could add a little bit more parsley, a little bit less. I did add most of the dill though. I also added some salt and pepper, and then finished it off with a little bit of shaved Parmesan cheese. Mix that around good, and then I'm gonna move on to the rice. So I added about 1.5 cups of jasmine rice to my rice cooker, 3 to 3.5 cups of water, turned it on, let it go. The rice is done, and that was for the little stir fry vegetable meal. And now moving on to these egg muffins. So I'm doing 2 eggs and 2 egg whites. And what you kind of want to do is just dribble it back and forth so that you can get the egg white out but not the yolk. So if you've never done it, it takes a little time, or you could have also just bought egg whites from the carton. Then I'm going to add some of those green peppers and mushrooms that I cut up earlier, and I'm also going to add some cheese. And again, you're going to want to repeat that process so that you have enough for 6 of those muffins. And ideally, when you fill up the muffin tins, you'd want to leave a little bit of room at the top of it, but the large eggs pretty much filled each of the tins up, so there wasn't much space. And then I went ahead and added some basic seasonings, just some salt and pepper, and then baked them at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Now it's time to package these meals up. I'm going to start by weighing out 100 to 105 grams of the jasmine rice for 6 containers, because this is for the vegetable stir fry or the teriyaki bowl. And when it comes to weighing out your food to get the proper nutrition, I almost always weigh my food cooked. There's only a few cases where I will weigh it raw, but I can still get the correct nutritional information for the cooked item, or at least very, very close. And there are several different sites you could use to get the nutritional information. I prefer using MyFitnessPal. I've used it for years. You can follow me on MyFitnessPal at WaterJugFitness. Also follow my other social accounts, but let's get back to the prep. So for lunch, each day I'm gonna have the vegetable stir fry or the teriyaki bowl, whatever you wanna call it. And all these meals are gonna get the same amount of veggies. Let me go ahead and put that on the screen so you can see it. There you go. But 3 of the meals are getting 4 ounces of chicken, and the other 3 meals are getting 2 ounces of chicken and 2 ounces of the steak. So it's kind of adding a little bit of variety in there. You can mix it up how you would like. Maybe Monday and Tuesday, you just want to eat the one with chicken. And then Wednesday, Thursday, you want to eat the one with chicken and steak. So on and so forth. You can mix it up again, as I said, how you would like. If you'd like to know how I decided to change these up and mix them up and eat them on certain days, there is again a link to that PDF where I break down the full day of eating for the entire week with all the macros, all of that great stuff. Again, I know for me personally, I just like to see everything listed out. It makes following plans much easier. So that link is in the description. And if you guys do get it, I really appreciate the support. But moving on. So for the dinner meal, I'm going to start by weighing out 110 to 115 grams of the cooked noodles. And there's also going to be a little bit of variety thrown in with this meal. So I'm not just eating 6 days of salmon. I'm going to have 4 days of salmon. It's going to be roughly about 4 ounces of the salmon. Again, I'll put these things on the screen so you can see them and follow along. Hopefully it's helping to make sense of all this. And then 2 of the meals are going to have about 4 ounces of the top round steak. So again, this gives you a little variety, so at least you're not eating the same thing every day. Each of these meals is also going to get 130 to 135 grams of the asparagus, which you will see in just a second. For breakfast, I have another 6 containers, and I'm going to be adding 1 egg muffin to each container. But that's not it for breakfast. I'm also going to be adding some strawberries and some blueberries. But as I rinse off these strawberries, cut them up, and then rinse off the blueberries, y'all don't need to hear me talking. So I'm gonna go silent, and then I'll come back once I start to package these up. So close to finishing up this prep. Just a few more steps to go. So now I'm going to be weighing out about 75 to 80 grams of strawberries into each container. And then I'm going to be weighing out about 40 to 50 grams of blueberries. In the morning, when it's time for this meal, what I'll do is I'll just pull the egg muffin out and just microwave it for like a minute. I don't want to throw the whole container in there because I don't want to microwave the blueberries and strawberries with it. And then to finish off those stir fry meals, I'm going to weigh out about 18 to 20 grams of this teriyaki sauce for each of those meals. So 6 in total. and then add it to each of those meals, and when it's time to eat, I can just drizzle it over the meal. And then moving on to the shaved Parmesan. This is for the salmon pasta as well as for the steak. You could add it there as well, but I'm weighing out about half an ounce of that. Then again, once it comes time to eat the meal, I will go ahead and add the Parmesan. And now moving on to the meal replacement smoothie, or you could also drink this after your workout, which is typically what I do. In the smoothie, I added about 3/4 cup of spinach, about 2/3 to 3/4 cups of the frozen fruit. I added about half a cup of the almond coconut milk, 1 Greek yogurt, flavor of your choice. I went with peach, 1 tablespoon honey, and 1 scoop vanilla whey protein powder. I usually make 2 to 3 of these at a time, so I don't have to make one every day, and then I can grab it and go. And that is going to wrap it up for this meal prep video. Don't forget to check out the full day of eating video, which goes over eating all the meals, reheating them, and also the macros. A link to that video is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up, like it, share it, comment, let me know, and don't forget to check out the full printable PDF for this entire meal plan. It's the first link in the description, so make sure to check it out, get yourself a copy. I really appreciate all the support. It helps so much. But now that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.